Hey, my name is Joe,
And I'm Mary Beth.
and this is the best of Gen X.
We are in our 40s.
And we're siblings,
We'll talk about adulting in a world so different from the one we grew up in,
so excuse us while we save a generation.
one episode at a time.
Let's go.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Mary Beth.
How are you?
I'm doing swell. How are you?
Well, to be honest, when I wake up in the morning, the alarm gives out a warning, and I don't think I'll ever make it on time. By the time I grab my books and give myself a look, I'm at the corner just in time to see the bus fly by.
Mary Beth,
What?
it's all right,
Why?
because you're saved by the bell. Hey, it's all right, because you're saved by the bell. And listen,
Yes.
if the teacher pops a test, I know I'm in a mess. And my dog ate all my homework last night. Right alone in my chair. She won't know that I'm even there. If I can hand it in tomorrow, it's going to be all right. It's all right,
I feel like I know what you're going to say next.
because I'm saved by the bell.
That's right. Oh, friends, we are going back to Bayside today, home of the Tigers, in a school that offered every opportunity a student could possibly want or need for a well-rounded education, including a buffet of advanced courses and even electives like ballet, state-of-the-art facilities like an indoor swimming pool, multimedia department that included a student-led radio station, and yet a school district poor enough to have $0 left to spare for the senior prom, turning it into a hoedown held in the school gym.
Yes, Mary Beth, we are talking about the show Saved by the Bell. It's a close-knit group of 6 friends that get through their teen years together while attending Bayside High School in Palisades, California. Lovable schemer Zach Morris leads his pals on adventures as they navigate relationships, final exams, school dances, breakups, and more, while frequently frustrating their principal, Mr. Richard Belding, who does his best to keep them in check. Did that about cover it?
I think it did. We're done. Great show. Hey, this was fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh, yes. We've wanted to talk about Saved by the Bell, one of our favorite shows growing up. A couple disclaimers, if we can. So we're not talking about Good Morning Miss Bliss. If you're a real fan of Saved by the Bell, you know about the junior high season, which is technically the first season if you were to stream it.
Based in Indiana, by the way.
Based in Indiana, yeah, but that was a Disney Channel endeavor. And so they changed some things up and, changed where the school is located. They added new cast members, and it became about the kids and the principal. And that's what we know as Saved by the Bell. So no diss to Bliss, but we're not going to talk about that season.
Yeah, I mean, it just didn't have enough juice for me.
No. We're also not really going to talk about the lost season of Tori.
I think I might mention, some funny moments, and I think that season or that 5 or 6 episode run might be included in that. But yeah, we won't go into it in depth.
Although it did, when we did this rewatch over the last week and a half or so, it did answer a lot of mysteries for me, because when we watched it as kids, I just remember being a little confused about why suddenly we knew they were in their senior year, but then there's just random characters, and this biker chick, Tori, and, Kelly and Jesse are nowhere to be found, and then suddenly they're at the graduation episode. So it did answer some of those questions.
Right, and like all young children, we just kind of adapted and just were nimble and just went with it.
We went
because
with
we
it.
loved the other characters that were in it enough.
Because the show was so amazing.
The show was amazing, captivating. We'd come home from school. There was 2 episodes right after we got home, and then I think that you flipped the channel. What was it? There was like on 2 different stations. And
Yeah, TBS definitely showed it back to back.
And then you showed it back to back on a different. So you were done by 4 or 5 o'clock or so. But man, you got 4 episodes.
It was awesome. And there were only 4 seasons, so from 89 to 93. And I remember that we didn't really, by the time we had cable, it was already in syndication. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty impressed. I mean, the fact that you and I knew that show at that time by heart, and this was before streaming, before binge watching, it proves that we are either awesome Or lame.
Or totally lame.o. Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned it was 4 seasons, and there are some special sort of like Hawaii seasons or college whatever, but 4 seasons, it doesn't seem like it was just 4 seasons. It seems like it was so much longer, and I guess it's just because we've been watching it for 30 years, but 4 seasons, it just doesn't seem like it was that short in my mind, but...
Whenever I think about Saved by the Bell...
It stayed with me, Mary Beth. It
stayed with me as well. And we still quote it. But one of the very first things that pops into my head when I think about Saved by the Bell is being in our living room at the old house, after school, whatever. Dad walks through the living room and hears, the show's on, sees it, and goes, God, is this show on again? He hated it.
He was such a get off my lawn guy with that show.
He hated it.
It's like, come on, dude, can't you just let us live?
I know.
Can't you just let us enjoy what we're doing right now? I've got a Debbie snack in my lap. Hey, I've got a Debbie snack in my lap, for God's sakes. I'm already done with school. I have nothing else going. Just let me enjoy this.
Let us learn about real teen issues,
right.
Dad.
Like, to us, it was so dramatic.
It was. And we didn't care that the audience always went,
Dad Big Joe hated that.
Hated
so
it.
Bad. Or it was like the forced laugh track every line or so. He's like, that drove him crazy.
God, is this show on again?
Yeah, but it is amazing how we just felt like it was so dramatic.
It was.
And I'm going to say, I remember getting in trouble. Who was it? It was either mom or dad. It could have been you guys. But I taped the last episode of Saved by the Bell. I taped over Top Gun.
I did not remember that.
So
I remember that you taped it.
I couldn't find a blank tape because we've talked in other podcasts about technology and what we used to have to, deal with back then. And I couldn't find a blank VCR tape or VHS tape. I'm like, what am I going to do?
Right.
The show was coming on 30 minutes. I'm like, what? I'm not prepared. I found the first tape was Top Gun and I taped over it.
I remember that.
Yeah.
The desperation when you wanted to record something and you...
I was in complete
You
scramble
got to
mode.
find something to tape over.
I was pushing things to the side that were in my way. The cat, fine china. Mom's fine china. I'm like, move. I have to find this tape.
I must record the graduation episode.
Gosh.
I'm glad you did because I missed it. And I remember watching it. I watched your recording.
You're very welcome.
Because the graduation episode was the lead in to the college year season, which I really enjoyed, by the way.
So what else you got?
That's all I have for disclaimers.
Okay. Well, you know what, Mary Beth? I think it's actually a good time now to do a character breakdown. What you say?
Let's.
Okay. So first we have Zach Morris, the popular, mischievous leader of the pack with surfer hair and a knack for the ladies and causing trouble. Zach, is that pretty fair?
It's pretty fair. It sounds like Zach Morris is trash.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Let's put a pin in that one.
Okay.
Great stuff, by the way. Which led to a podcast.
Yes.
And that particular person who we will talk about became a writer for the new Saved by the Bell.
Wow.
Because of that.
That's amazing.
Kelly Kapowski, the homecoming queen, head cheerleader who comes from a middle-class family and is Zach's main love interest. Mm-hmm. Again, feel free to add to any of these, but I'm just going to roll with it. You have something? You look like you have something. You're pensive. You have that pensive look on your face.
Unrealistically pure, Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah.
Unrealistically innocent.
Yeah. Families poor, yet have a very nice home that feeds and provides a roof for about 8 people. She always has the newest fashion. But yes, we won't talk about that yet. Jessie Spano, the activist, feminist, straight-A student who loves teaching Slater how to speak to women.
Neurotic egghead.
And then you have Samuel Screech Powers, the nerdy best friend of Zach Morris, who relentlessly pursued classmate and friend Lisa Turtle since kindergarten.
Poor Lisa.
And Lisa Turtle, the spoiled, fashion-forward gossip queen of Bayside who came from a well-off family of doctors and who spends most of her time running from Screech's advances. These are pretty good, right?
I think they're pretty good.
Okay. Do I get some kind of award or medal?
I mean...
Mr. Richard Belding, the jokester, fun-loving principal of Bayside who cares deeply about his school and spends most of his time keeping Zach Morris in check.
Well done.
Thank you. I was pretty proud of that, actually. That's actually not Google. That's Joe.
Wow. Very scholarly.
Thank you.
Very scholarly.
Thank you. Yeah. So that's the character breakdown. We talked a little bit about what the show is, but let's go through some quick facts, shall we?
Yes.
Okay. The oldest cast member, Mario Lopez. Did you know this?
I did not know he was the oldest.
I bet you most people would say Elizabeth Berkley, Jessie Spano was the oldest. She just kind of seemed older. Mm-hmm. But it was actually Mario Lopez as AC Slater was the oldest cast member. Not by much, okay?
I'm going to say Lisa was the next one.
Well, so a few of their, I know Tiffany Amber Thiessen, Lark Voorhees, and I think Mark Paul, their birthdays are all within like 3 or 4 months, I think.
Yeah.
So they're all, pretty much the gist of it is most of the characters were the same age as most of the people were the same age as what their characters would be in the show.
And that is something new.
It is something new. So Mario Lopez was born in 1973. 3 or 4 of them are born in 1974, and then Dustin Diamond was born in 1977. So on that note, Screech, played by Dustin Diamond, was the youngest by about 3 years. RIP, rest in peace, Dustin Diamond.
Rest in peace. Actually
Actually died at the young age of 44, which is kind of sad because that's how old I am.
Just about a year ago.
Yeah, he had some form of cancer, and he literally died maybe a month or 2 after he got diagnosed. So that was really sad. But actually, another quick fact that is related to Dustin Diamond, did you know that his real dad was in at least one episode?
No.
I promise you.
Let me guess.
Can you guess? I want you to guess.
The science teacher. The science teacher.
Which science teacher?
The one who put the thing on his head. That structure.
Could be. The episode I'm thinking of is, this is study hall, not Soul Train. The big teacher.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about the episode where they put the molecule or the whatever hat on his head. But yeah, that big teacher who says that and he points his finger at the desk. That's Dustin Diamond's real dad.
And I remember what I always remembered about that particular line and that teacher was that he looked like he was about to break character.
Yes.
Which really tracks because Screech did that a lot as well.
Exactly. So if you watch the series again, that teacher is his dad in real life. Don't know his name. But I have heard on several different Saved by the Bell podcasts that some of the castmates remembered most about Dustin Diamond was in between takes, his dad and he would be in their dressing room playing video games.
Oh, wow.
A lot together. So that was just kind of a fun little quick fact.
Okay.
Elizabeth Berkley wanted to play Kelly.
Yes, I did know that it was like down to the 2 of them or something. And what I read and you can obviously believe everything you read on the interwebs, but they told me that they created Jessie Spano just for Elizabeth Berkley because they ultimately went with Tiffany Thiessen. Mm-hmm. But they liked her enough to write her in.
So I have another quick fact, but it ties into this one. So what happened was, in the Miss Bliss episodes in middle school, Tiffany Amber Thiessen and Elizabeth Berkley both auditioned for the role of Karen. If anybody recalls from the show, Karen is that 9th grader that Zach knew that came to Bayside, unbeknownst to Zach. Zach finds her there in the hallway. They actually auditioned for that role. Okay. I think the person that played Karen, I know we're not talking about that season, but Carly, I think her name was Gugino. She actually played in Son-in-Law. She's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. They met at summer camp.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, those two auditioned for the role of Karen. Obviously, they did not get it. Tiffany got the role for Kelly, and then they liked. So what I read was they liked, the producers and directors liked Elizabeth Berkley so much they actually thought she had the best audition. So to your point, they created a role for her.
Very cool.
Yep. Mark Paul Gosselaar, who plays Zach Morris, his mother was from Indonesia, and his father is Dutch. Did you know that?
I knew that.
Yes. So he actually wasn't a natural blonde. His actually natural hair color was dark.
Yeah.
And so they had to put some sun in.
Yeah.
To make him look like a surfer boy. But yeah.
Right.
His mother was from Indonesia. I think she was like a flight attendant maybe. Okay. But anyway, they one of their jobs brought them to the LA area. So that's kind of where he's from.
Okay.
Yep. Mark Paul Gosselaar never went back and watched the show.
What?
And even guest hosted a podcast called Zach to the Future with Dashiell Driscoll, who is the Zach Morris's trash guy.
Let's talk about that Zach Morris's trash.
So I'll finish this, but we'll talk about that. So he never went back and watched the show, and when he guest hosted the podcast, the idea behind that podcast was we're going to talk about the show, go episode by episode. Unfortunately, they stopped making episodes within I think they got through 50 maybe. But I just thought that was so interesting. He talks on the show where he doesn't remember filming any of it.
That is nuts.
Can you imagine actually being there filming it and then not remembering 1 second of it? So most of his memory is off camera, the stuff they were doing together as friends and castmates off camera. And when they went to Palm Beach and filmed episodes or Hawaii, that's what he remembers most. He doesn't remember actually filming these scenes, which I can't get my head around.
I can't either because that show was so important to us. It would have been, at that age, it would have been so cool to be on that show and to walk away and not remember it.
I don't get it. Because I know myself well enough, I would go back and watch myself and be like, that's rad. That is so rad.
I would too.
Right. So,
I'd watch it over and over.
and I had to think about it. I was like, I was in high school plays, as you were.
Yes.
I don't remember every second of things that I did on the stage. I remember I did roles, but I don't remember every second of it. So maybe it's fair, I guess, right?
Yeah, but if he's trying to pull the whole actor thing where it's just a job,
Right.
You know,
And he does say
right.
that. And he does say that. He plays on that a little too much, I think.
That's where I pull the BS card, because it's like, dude, it's not just a job. You're an actor on a hit TV show.
Yeah, you're probably on Teen Beat. Come on, dude. Yeah, he said something to the effect of, I don't really like watching myself. Come on.
Oh,
man.
please.
Yeah, come on.
Please.
A couple more here. So
Liar.
Liar. Lark Voorhees was almost fired. Did you know that? She was
No.
almost fired, I think after the first episode of the high school seasons. But they gave her a chance in her performance in Lisa Card, which was episode 2, where she spends too much of her dad's money on his card. They scramble, and Zach basically exploits Lisa and makes dudes kiss her without her consent, which is part of the Zach Morris's Trash series.
Right, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. I
the
apologize.
podcast.
So, but anyway, they kept her as part of the main character group after that episode. So go ahead with the Zach Morris's Trash thing.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because you used to, when you were actually listening to this podcast on the daily, you were like, Zach Morris is trash. And you wouldn't stop talking about it.
So funny. It is so funny.
And I do remember my first reaction. I had this just involuntary response where everything in my being felt insulted. Like, wait, whoa. Zach Morris isn't trash. What are you talking about?
Right.
And then you made me go and look at all these clips.
You are not going to speak negatively of this show, yes.
And I realized, wow, Zach Morris really is
trash. So funny.
He's the worst.
Yeah, I think Dashiell Driscoll is pretty well known in the industry now, and it was because of that. And he became, a writer for the new Saved by the Bell because of it. He's genius.
Well, it's
so
completely
funny.
transformed. In the rewatch, for me, it really shaped the way I saw him now. But hey,
Good stuff. If you haven't seen or heard about it, Google Zach Morris's Trash, and you will be entertained for at least an hour.
I remember going through every single YouTube clip.
And we died.
Yeah.
The first time I ever showed it to you.
It was so funny.
Zach Morris is trash.
And he really is.
Yeah, so funny. Okay, last one I have, Mary Beth. Bennett Tramer was a writer/producer for the show, and they used Tramer, so the last name Tramer, as a last name for at least 2 characters during separate episodes. So it was kind of a nod to Bennett Tramer. Thought that was kind of cool.
I did not know this.
Well, now you do.
They didn't consult me.
They probably didn't have your number.
Okay, so who were your favorites?
So my favorite character, I think when I was younger, I probably would have said Zach because he was the leader, and I kind of wanted to be that Zach guy.
Right, everybody wanted to be Zach.
Everybody wanted to be Zach, and I kind of had blondish. Well, I did have blonde hair when I was younger, but so I think as a young kid, as a young Gen Xer, I would have said Zach. As an adult, I have found that Slater is my favorite character.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, are you going to tell me why?
Okay. So I think Slater is funnier.
Yes.
I think he's got a cool sort of like confident side to him, but he's also kind of got a vulnerable side. Mm-hmm. I think he is respectful for the most part, wants to do the right thing, mm-hmm. and I think he's a good friend, to be quite honest with you.
I agree with all of those things.
Yep.
I was a fan of Mario Lopez before Saved by the Bell because he was in an episode of The Golden Girls.
Yes, you are very much a Golden Girls nista.
I am. Challenge me if you dare.
Oh, I don't.
There's nothing I couldn't tell you about the Golden Girls.
Yeah,
but he
so
was on an episode.
that would have been like a mid-'80s
Yeah,
kind of
late 80s.
Yeah, because I think I had seen that episode one time, and he was smaller. He just seemed so
little
young.
bit smaller, but very little about him has changed. Mm-hmm. He's aged very well, and he looks so young still.
For sure, taking care of himself.
I like Slater. I have to agree with you on that. That's a pretty good take. My favorite, I guess like you, the counterpart, the female counterpart, everybody wants to be Kelly. Everybody wants to look that great. So pretty, so nice. So I liked her. As a character, I got the most kick out of Jessie because she is so neurotic and crazy. Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know if I could choose a favorite. But since I want Mario Lopez to retweet this episode, I'm going to say my favorite Slater.
I'm going to speak it into existence. We're going to manifest that.
I love
Mario,
you, Slater.
when you read this, please. I said you were my favorite.
Mario, I've loved you for a long time.
Albert Clifford Slater. Yeah, so if I may, I know we're talking about main characters. Well, before I even get into that, do you feel like as a female, do you feel like if I would have said, hey, what's your favorite character, or who's your favorite character, would you have felt obligated to say one of the females? I just want a female's perspective.
No.
You wouldn't have?
No, but I started off by talking about Kelly and wanting to be like her just because you had mentioned you identified with Zach and wanted to be like Zach. Everybody wants to be cool like him. And so as a female viewer, I, think about who I would want to be like. So, but no, as far as picking a favorite character, it certainly doesn't have to be either
enough.
Or. It's just hard. It's just too hard to pick, I think. I can talk about favorite cameo performances, cameo characters. I really loved James, and I think there wasn't nearly enough James.
Oh, so James was the starving actor who worked at the Max that helped the kids.
James was a local actor, creepy enough to hang around kids, and he would moonlight at the Max as a waiter in between acting jobs, and they had to hire him in certain episodes, and he is just fantastic and very, very funny. So that's some of the funniest moments for me watching the show were with James because he was just
he was a good character.
Hysterical.
Like you said, he was in 2 or 3 episodes, but I always laugh when I think about James's involvement in the show, the character, because he's known the kids for all of about 3 seconds, and he tells Zach, well, if I was your father, I'd let you go on the ski trip. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude?
Really?
You just met him like 10 seconds ago. So good call. Well, I was curious about the female perspective on the favorite actors. Listen, as your sibling, I will tell you, I don't know what this means to you, if this means anything or not, but I always watched the show and viewed you as Jessie. And it was more because you were super serious in school.
Yep.
You were the straight A, gotta study, gotta get everything right, perfectionist. Yes. So I always kind of viewed you as Jessie in that sense. Not for any other reason but that.
It doesn't surprise me, Joe.
I mean, we all know you were a terrific dancer and a terrific singer. And
I love wearing Versace. So I did have my pole dreams.
There you go.
Those died. No, I'm not surprised at all that you said that because I was kind of the studious Jessie.
But she was also a cheerleader.
Yes.
You were a cheerleader.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of similarity, a lot of parallels.
Sure.
But so my favorite...
Except my drug addiction came years later.
What are you talking about? What drug addiction could you even be talking about? Okay, so the one character that wasn't a main character that I really, really loved and looked forward to because he was on several was Mr. Tuttle.
I liked Mr. Tuttle too.
Motivate him.
Right.
He had no neck.
Motivate him.
And I have a quick story about Mr. Tuttle. This isn't even on my notes. It's just something that I had heard about before, but whoever Mr. Tuttle is, I can't remember his name in real life, but Mr. Tuttle, the real life, whoever Mr. Tuttle was, he was actually an accountant for the show.
No.
And, the people that casted the show, and he knew of them, obviously, because he was, working on sort of like the corporate side of the show, behind the camera. They actually offered him that first episode that he was in. He was like, yeah, I never thought about doing it before. For whatever reason, they thought he would be good for that. I can't remember if that was the driver's ed episode or what it was.
It had to be sooner because...
Could have been.
Because of the buddy bands and the friendship bracelets.
Friendship, yep, there you go. So, but yeah, he was an accountant for the show.
Interesting.
Believe it or not.
This is crazy. I feel like I've walked into a portal through an old locker and unlocked all the secrets to Saved by the Bell.
I know, right? I'm here for you. I'm here to make your day better. But yeah, he was like a driver's ed instructor. He was a Glee Club teacher. He was the career or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really liked Mr. Tuttle.
I did too. I was a
And his
fan of Tuttle.
voice, thought was, and then the kind of the dynamic between him and Belding, they're always kind of like competing with each other.
Yes.
I think in the show, the idea was, or they make it seem like Tuttle wanted to be president and Belding took his job. So they're always like in this friction.
Principal.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
wanted to be principal.
What did I say?
President.
I meant close. Principal. So there was always like this frictional state, in
Yes.
their relationship. So that was my favorite non-main character.
Okay.
Anything else on the characters?
I found during the rewatch that it was harder and harder for me to believe in the friendship of Zach and Screech. Well, Screech and all of them, because so very few of their interactions were kind. I mean, it was literally just every episode, all episode long. Screech, you're an idiot. Screech, you're an idiot. Screech, you're an idiot. And so I find that as an adult, that friendship was less believable.
Very, very good point. Very good. He really only was kind to Screech if he needed something.
Yes.
He needed him to help with a project or a homework, or I need you to do this calendar, and I need you to sneak into the girls' locker room. And, that's if he needed something, that's when he was kind to Screech.
And speaking of that, I mean, also as an adult, I'm supposed to be very offended by all of these schemes and pranks by Zach Morris, because they're what the kids today would call problematic, toxic, if you will, toxic masculinity. I am still not offended. What does that say about me? I'm offended by it. Loser. I'm supposed to be angry that he took pictures of the girls without their consent and made a calendar out of it.
Oh, I mean, listen, even
he did it for the school.
Yeah, even Mark Paul got into some of the stuff that he didn't like when he got into that Dashiell Driscoll podcast, where he was like, yeah, I to even think that I was able to do that as a character, he said it's cringy. I regret it. So, I mean, there's different things that he did in the show that he himself thought were problematic in today's world. And I say that, you can see my facial expression. He's saying that in the podcast. I'm going, oh, dude.
Come on. Don't
dude.
apologize.
Don't do that. Don't ruin it for me.
Don't ruin it. It's the life we lived back then. We
Yeah.
wouldn't have thought anything of it.
No, nothing.
It was for humor.
So, you want to get into episodes, or what do you got? You want to get into some favorite episodes, or I mean, what's tickling your fancy right now?
Okay,
Amanda?
so some of my favorite episodes that I always looked forward to. I always looked forward to the calendar one that we just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
I always loved the just the modeling shoots in it, and Kelly getting to go to Paris, and I liked the prom episode where she can't afford a dress, and so she gives her dad the money back that he gave her to buy a prom dress, and she's too embarrassed to tell him, and he sets up a nice little thing outside on the picnic table. That's kind of sweet. I always looked forward to, I think the most that I looked forward to was the Snow White episode, because it was, not only was it really fun, but because Jesse and Zach kissed, but it was like the first real kiss on the show, because all the other ones were just like pecks.
Chicken pecks, yeah.
So
Like two seventh graders kissing for the first time
Right.
in the hallway and like trying to get away from each other as quick as possible.
so
Yeah,
awkward.
can we just kiss on the lips real fast so everybody knows that we did and get lost?
Yeah, like why does every single kiss on that episode on that whole series have to be the most awkward thing I've ever seen?
And then after every lame peck kiss, everybody's like, "Ooh." But then as a kid, you're like, whoa, that's how it's supposed to be.
I know, it was super heavy.
Well, no, you're right, though. This one was an actual kiss. Snow White and the Seven Dorks
Yes.
was the episode title.
And so that was kind of cool. And
And I love how the drama teacher, when Kelly says, how about we make it a rap version? And,
Right.
and the drama teacher's like, that's a fantastic idea.
it's a wonderful idea.
And Mary Beth and I are on the other side of the camera going, that's an awful idea. But it's great for the show. What an awful, horrible idea.
What a terrible idea.
Yeah.
And like, can you imagine the work involved in having to go through an entire script and turn it into a rap?
And you know what? I'm thinking those kids back then, when they were actually doing those scenes where they're actually rapping in the audition and in the audition of the play and actually in the play, they probably thought they were so cool. And then if they were to look back right now, they go, wow.
That's funny that you say
horrendous.
that, because I was asking myself that same question through the whole rewatch. I was like, I wonder if Mario Lopez looks back on these and goes,
Well, I mean, his hair.
I mean, his hair is pretty.
Oh, no, sorry, Mario. We love you.
We
Please
love you.
retweet this. Follow
Your
us.
hair was awesome. It was the greatest curly mullet of all time.
DM our Twitter account, please.
Yes, please.
And then he had the stonewashed jeans.
And he wore a unitard. I'm sorry, but the pleats. He wore the pleats a little out.
Anyway.
But no, I was rewatching and I'm asking myself, do they look back on these and make fun? However, not to get into the reboot too soon. We'll talk about it a little bit, but I have to think that they look back with a little cringe maybe, but mostly fondness.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But man, watching as an adult, super cringe all the way through.
Yep, super cringe.
What were your favorite episodes?
So there's no hope with dope. The Johnny Dakota episode.
Johnny Dakota episode.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Tonight, all my Johnny Dakota action figures become lawn mulch. Great episode. Gets me every time. One of the recurring sort of like, student characters, Ox.
Yes.
He's actually in that episode as Scud.
Yes.
So he's one of the few that is like plays like a dual, sort of role in the show. So he's Scud in that episode, but he becomes Ox in the rest.
He's our archetypal bad boy,
Right.
Our hoodlum.
And Richard Belding just so happens to be best friends with Brandon Tartikoff, the head of NBC.
That's how things work.
I'm like, dude, why did you wait till all this to blow up to reach out to Brandon Tartikoff? Just go to him beforehand. Right. Why did you have to wait for Johnny Dakota and his manager or agent just randomly walking through the halls because they got lost on the side of the road?
And of course, what ultimately, like Jessie takes him on a tour. As school president, let me take you on a tour. And so she's acting all adult. And then who shows up?
Hold on, but when Jessie does it, everybody's like, ooh.
And then Kelly shows up and he's like, we're going to do the commercial here. She's the most beautiful girl in the universe. And he was like 4 feet tall.
Yeah, we're going to listen. There's some things we're going to talk about here in a minute. I'm going to talk about that again.
But we love that episode.
So I do like that episode. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was one of mine. Good call. Graduation, I have to pick. Just
love
because,
the ballet scene.
Get a little emotional watching it. I mean, I taped over Top Gun for that episode, for God's sake. It was hard to see them say bye.
But for me, the reason that I love that episode is the ballet, the dance.
Okay, but don't
Swan Pond.
Don't steal my thunder because I'm going to talk about that later.
Okay.
We have a funny segment that we'll get into. Okay, so put a pin in that as well.
Okay.
The friendship business. You talked about that earlier with the Mr. Tuttle.
I like that one.
Yeah. Buddy bands.
So
they had friendship bracelets. Zach was basically working Lisa to the bone like a sweatshop worker. The best part was, this is what I laugh about to this day, and they play on this for several different episodes, but they have no concept of what it takes to be wealthy at Bayside. Okay? What I mean by that is, every one of these like ventures or these schemes that Zach cooks up. We're going to sell a $1.50 friendship bracelets. And Zach's like, we're going to be rich. We made $100 this week. Then they go into a dream sequence where we're going to buy our own school.
Right.
They were so unrealistic at the thought of money.
I know.
Absolutely killed me. So, but I loved that episode. Yeah, those were the 4 that I had. But of course, the prom one was good.
Yeah.
The breakup, the last dance episode with Kelly and Zach. It was tough. As a young kid, I wasn't ready for that.
I was not either. And I was very upset with Jeff.
Very upset.
And I was upset with Kelly.
I was too.
How could she?
Yeah. It was a good episode, but it was still tough.
Yeah. I remember that. I remember being really affected by that.
Absolutely. Any more? What you got?
I have that we're complete dorks so far. That's what I've got.
Yeah, I knew that. Okay. So
I like the beach episodes too.
Okay. Well, I mean, would you like to get into those, or you want to move on to our next segment?
We can move on to the next segment because I'm going to talk about one of the characters from that part.
Okay. So, Mary Beth, I think we should transition to a segment that I like to call silly moments or what the heck moments.
What the heck?
It's things that you didn't really notice as a kid watching the show, but when you are an adult watching the show, you're like, why? Why?
Why did we buy this?
Why did we buy this? Why did we think this was cool? Okay. Silly moment number 1. I want you to add some if you see fit. Okay. Slater doesn't want to wrestle anymore, and Screets gets to just decide who's going to wrestle in his place. Hey, where's the coach? Okay.
Hey, where are the adults ever?
So Slater just decides he doesn't want to wrestle. Zach's pissed off because he's trying to settle a bet with this needed guy from Valley. the winner of the bet gets a motorcycle or a dirt bike. So Zach is like, for sure, Slater's just going to demolish this Nedick guy. Nedick shows up at the max to talk some shit, right? And then Slater decides, you know what? I don't need to wrestle. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So he starts getting involved with cooking and baking, and he's got an apron on, for God's sake. And Zach's getting a little nervous.
Right.
Zach's getting nervous. And lo and behold, the time of the wrestling match starts. And Screech just gets to decide that he's going to wrestle. I mean, the coach doesn't step in and say, nope, we've got our number 2 wrestler on the team. Right. Nope. Screech gets his own unitard, or whatever they call that. Unitard. Where is the coach? I mean, when you show the scene of Screech getting like helicoptered around by this Nedick character, there's no coach. Hey, there's like 10 people in the gym. Hey, where are the parents?
Tell me this. When Screech is in a scuba costume, taking pictures of the girls without their consent, where are the police?
Where are the law enforcement?
Is the swim coach not next to the pool going, what the hell are you doing in the water?
Who let this jackass in here? And aren't you a student? Right. So funny. So can you please imagine my laughter when I'm watching this episode? I'm like, where is the damn coach? And who gets to decide? Screech gets to do that. Right. Okay. I wanted to start with that one because I thought it was a good one. You ready for the next one?
Yes, please.
The Iowa University wrestling coach walks into the max to offer Slater a full wrestling scholarship. He just walks in and says, hi. Hey. His character name was Jeff Tramer. He was one of the Tramers.
Oh, Tramer.
He walks in and says, hey, Slater, never met before, never spoken. I'm Jeff Tramer. They hire a wrestling coach, and I would like to offer you a full wrestling scholarship.
I know we don't have Google, but trust me, I'm legit. Hey, I'm legit.
Hey, Slater stands up and was like, that sounds great. Hey, and then he leaves.
Because that's how deals are struck.
Because that's how kids get offered full ride scholarships. When you've never spoken, never met.
Oh, dreamy.
Oh.
So good.
Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah, of course.
I've got a bunch.
Okay.
Hey, driver's ed training was riding a golf cart in the classroom.
Because driving is just like driving a golf cart.
And they kept calling the damn thing a car the entire episode. What the hell was that? And everybody acts like when they set foot in this golf cart that they don't know how to drive a damn car. And Slater's like, hey, wait a minute. I know how to drive one.
What did he drive him around the base? Did he say I used to drive him around the base? Because he's a military brat for all you idiots out there who don't know.
This golf cart has a steering wheel, a gas pedal, and a brake pedal.
And he had to drive around some cones in the classroom.
Oh, my gosh. I'm glad you're enjoying these. Are you ready?
Yeah, hit me.
Slater makes fun of going to a ballet when Jesse buys the tickets for the ballet. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is the episode where Zach and Kelly are together, Jesse and Slater together. They're excited about scheduling these dates.
For their anniversaries.
And Jesse, Slater wants to go to the Raiders game.
Yes.
Jesse I have tickets to the ballet. Slater makes fun of going to the ballet. Yet, in several episodes, he somehow executes near flawless pirouettes. Like, what the hell?
Looking dashing in a unitard, by the way.
Yeah. And you've got like these stones, these like little rhinestones or whatever they are. I mean, he makes fun of going to ballet, yet he's like the best ballet spin cycle dancer I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Does that make any sense to you?
It doesn't make any sense. That is another favorite episode, the What I Should Have Said Theater, when they perform at the Max and get the two couples back together. And he's like, what did he say? They only cost me $100. And she's like, you're such a pig. And he's like, I'm so grateful to have you to remind me of that every day.
I'm so lucky to have you remind me of that every day. Okay. Hey, can we talk about the gross mismanagement of the Max?
Can we please?
I mean, who the hell?
Or who's in charge?
Yeah, shuts down your whole operation so these 5 or 6 kids can go have their little lesson learning moment.
Yeah. And here, how mean is it? Max never does magic for anybody else. Just them. Just their table. And why? Why the magic at all?
What is the point? Ed Alonso's character, I don't get it. Other than his name being Max, and that's the Max.
I do not get it.
The most pointless character of all time. Probably a great dude. What I found out in the Zack to the Future episodes in that podcast was Ed Alonso and Richard Belding, which is Dennis Haskins in real life, they really didn't have much chemistry.
Oh.
So Dennis Haskins it's kind of like just what we're saying. He wasn't really sure what that character was really about.
Oh, I see.
And so when he did the magic, he thought that was a little hokey. Didn't like it. Found that out.
I'm sure that the magic wasn't the only hokey thing about the show that Belding didn't like.
What are you talking about? Take that back.
Oh, okay. How about this? When they have a birthday party, a surprise one for Zach in the principal's office. And they had time, despite the fact that they had a really mean hall monitor that week and were getting sent to detention left and right. They had time to go out and buy presents and wrap them.
Hello, rich, popular privilege.
Right.
Who the hell else gets that privilege?
Did the parents drop the presents off? Heard you were having a party. Here's a sweater. All nice and wrapped. Oh, here's some balloons.
Well, I did say he had a unique connection with those kids. Okay? Okay, another one, Mary Beth. Character disguises.
Okay.
Why does nobody else notice who they are?
It's like Superman.
I mean, you literally just throw a pair of glasses on, they're like, who is this? This little... Hey.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm trying to picture. I'm picturing Zach dressed up as a girl, going on a date with Screech.
Bambi.
Fresh. He's like, you've got such delicate hands. He goes, I do not.
Or Screech plays the janitor, Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah, the Irish speaking janitor that nobody can tell is Screech, because he just happened to throw on a wig and a pair of glasses.
He does the same thing, but in another episode where he dresses up as a girl and he calls himself Barbara Bush.
Barbara Bush. Okay, good stuff. Okay, are you ready for this next one? I think you're really gonna like this one.
Okay.
Kelly cannot sing in the Miss Bayside pageant episode.
True.
She tries to sing Blue Moon, she's an awful singer.
She's an awful singer.
Yet is about to sign a recording deal in the very next episode with the band Hot Sunday. Hey, what is that?
It was the worst. Hers was the worst part of the song. Na 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 na. It was the worst.
There's a message that I'm sending to you. And then they jump off those little trampolines.
You can do what you want to
and you thought the video was so next level because when they would jump, their uniforms would change or their outfits would change. So cool.
A lot of strobe.
Na, 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 na.
A lot of strobe going on. A lot of strobe effect.
Yeah. So amazing that she can't sing one episode. The next episode she is.
Hey.
Listen.
I believed it all.
Never thought of it at the time.
I didn't question it.
Okay, so the next one you've kind of touched on when we talked about No Hope with Dope. Okay?
Right.
Felonious relationships.
Okay.
With older adults and the students.
Okay.
Johnny Dakota. Okay, dude had to be like in his 20s.
Okay.
And at that time, Kelly would have been 15.
Right, they
16.
didn't have their license yet.
Right, exactly. Zack Attack episode with the female manager and Zach. She has to be in her 20s.
She looked 40.
I bet you she smoked for 20 years. Okay? Or how about, even though it was to teach Zach a lesson,
right?
How about sexual harassment by the school nurse?
By the school nurse.
Yeah, literally.
Who basically was stripping off her coat and pressing her body up against
and told
his.
Zach that she wants to leave her husband and go have lots of kids with him. And
right.
Cornered him into the sink of the nurse's room. Unbelievable.
Although that does remind me of another episode that I really like. Tony Crane.
Oh, okay. Do you want to get into that one? Or?
Sure.
I don't like Tony Crane. Did you like Tony Crane?
Oh, it's not so much Tony Crane. It's just the episode itself where he's a sub. Because I like the sub who can't hear. And then she throws out her back.
Miss Simpson.
Yes. And so Tony Crane comes in as a sub, and he's got just this brilliant smile.
He twinkles. His smile twinkles.
And all the girls swoon, and then the boys get jealous. And so they try to, they hire someone because everyone has money to hire an actress.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think I didn't like him because I was obviously younger then during those earlier years, and I was all about Zach and Kelly, and I didn't like that infiltration of Tony Crane. I was really sensitive to that.
You felt threatened,
even though he was an adult, and I know now that she had no chance at him. Back then, I thought she had a chance.
Right, that's
I was
funny.
like, Kelly, what are you doing? Okay, are you ready for this one?
Yes.
Do you have any? I don't want to steal the whole.
No,
Okay.
I
Are you enjoying this?
I am very much
Okay.
enjoying this.
The Mamas and the Papas episode. Why don't the other kids get to participate?
I think we know why.
Okay, we know why. And why does the final grade of the project happen at the Max on like a Friday night?
Right.
And why is the Max closed just for them?
Just for again, where are the managers?
Right. So this is the episode where the kids get to be in a project where they're married, and it's Jesse and Slater, and then it's Lisa and Screech, and it's Zach and Kelly.
Yes.
So that's a good
But
episode.
no other kids in the class get to participate.
Yeah, they all
in
just
this
literally
project.
stand in the back and watch. And somehow Mr. Belding is teaching the class.
Right. No reason why.
And he did that often in the series.
Yeah, we don't know why. He even taught the photography class. Why? We don't know.
Right. And this kind of goes back. I meant to mention when I was talking about the felonious relationships. I like that word, by the way.
Felonious is fun.
Miss Wentworth pretends to make a pass at Zach during the subliminal tape episode.
Oh, yeah. You blonde Tom Cruise.
Cringe. Okay. And, we're not going to get into this too much, but the Tori episodes, she just kind of shows up during their senior year while Jesse and Kelly disappear.
Right.
Never to be mentioned for like 6 or 7 episodes.
And then suddenly they're graduating.
Yeah, they're so weird. Okay. The next one, I think this is more of like a what the heck. Zach and Lisa kiss. Okay. When Lisa's trying to get into the Fashion Institute of Technology.
Yes.
Zach and Lisa kiss and decide they like each other in the fashion show episode, and then nothing.
Nothing.
Never to be mentioned again.
Never to be mentioned again.
And I think this is like a recurring thing with Lisa. Like she just
I
always
think it's a recurring thing in the whole show. Siblings. Never to be seen again.
never to be seen again. True. Like
Yeah.
we hear about Slater's sister one time towards the end of the series.
Basically, the episodes most of the time stand on their own, but sometimes they're it doesn't make sense. Like
I felt bad for Lisa Turtle, man.
That's one of my unpopular opinions.
I mean, okay, well then I'm gonna leave it there. But she just kind of gets hung out to dry with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Zach hurts his knee, okay, before the basketball game. Thanks, Mr. Belding. And a few of the characters act like Zach is on his deathbed.
I know.
Like, dude, it's just a knee surgery.
Right.
I mean, they act like he's going on the knife. And Zach has this nightmare sequence where he dies. And they had the funeral. Where else? At his locker.
Bayside.
They bury him in his locker. So
Yay.
ridiculous.
Raw.
So that's more of a silly moment. I think you'll like this one. Zach gets into Yale.
Right.
This is a long one.
Okay.
Zach gets into Yale just because of his 1500 SAT score. But Jesse is a straight A student, class president, ends up being salutatorian, we find out, yet gets denied admission to every school she applies for, except Columbia. Even funnier, in the graduation episode, Zach almost can't graduate because he's 1 credit shy.
Right.
And they have to do a performance of Swan Pond just so he can graduate. Yet he gets into Yale. Make that make sense.
He can't.
I mean, the whole series, all you hear is he's never studied a day in his
Never
life.
studied. Terrible grades.
Terrible grades.
Terrible in
Has
in
to have a
class.
terrible behavior sheet or a rap
Right.
sheet.
Right. Well, does senior skip day, he can't participate because he has so many
Yeah,
detentions.
he has like 9 or 10 detentions.
So it makes no sense that his transcript in all its glory would never get him into Yale.
And yet, Yale's like,
yet.
come on down, Mr. 1500.
Right.
Jesse Spano? Mm-mm.
We don't want you here at Harvard.
Yeah. Stansberry.
Another James episode.
Okay. Date auction. I mean, come on. Is that number one, is that passing in today's world at all?
I don't know. They'd have to.
I mean, they had an episode about a date auction where the principal called up the male students at the school
Right,
and
and try
let
to
women
sell-
spend money. Spend money to go on
I
dates
know
with them.
that that's a thing. I know that date auctions are a thing, and I think they even did one at the school I taught at. But it was to raise money for some good cause, and I don't know. They must have G-rated the whole experience, but
Crazy to think about. I mean, people are losing careers over stuff like that now. And I like how Jessie just throws the money in the box and she's like, I'll bid whatever, 25, whatever it was. And Screech walks right in and just claims her. They don't even go through the process of like starting out at a particular bid. He just gets her, no questions asked.
right.
Do you remember what they were trying to raise money for?
New uniforms.
Cheerleader uniforms. yeah.
Thank you. Don't
call.
try to quiz me.
I will later.
Okay, I will too.
Student Teacher Week. That's one of the most implausible storylines they've possibly had in that whole show. Like they are going to allow...
More implausible than Zach somehow managing to electronically synchronize all the lockers to open and close with a remote control when Lisa has to sell her clothes.
I mean, come on. Not only are they going to let Kelly Kapowski be a history teacher, no questions asked, no skill, no degree.
Right. She wrote a good essay.
Not only are they going to do that, but Zach gets to be the principal. That's one of the most ridiculous storylines of the whole show. Zach's in there playing like with this little pad on a ball. He's eating popcorn. He's got Run DMC posters on the wall or LL Cool J or whatever it is. That's one of the silliest storylines I think I've ever seen.
Right. But when push comes to shove, it's time to get serious.
It's time to get serious. Okay. What the heck moment? Moose, the character of Moose, who was in several episodes, apparently went to Valley and Bayside.
Did he?
So he was in the Valley episodes where the prank war.
Okay.
Moose was the big guy.
Yes.
And then he was in the Teen Line episodes as Luis's boyfriend, Moose. And he was in a couple others.
Right.
But yeah,
and we're supposed to forget it.
He was in the episode where they tried to play okay, so do you remember this episode, the video yearbook episode?
Of course.
Where they try to get back at Zach, and even Belding's in on the deal.
Yes.
And they have to make everybody feel like Slater beat the whole school up, including the principal. So they all have like shiners on their eyes.
Yeah.
Moose was in that episode. He walks down the hallway and they're like, Moose, what happened to you?
Right.
Slater beat me up. Hey, Slater thought I was trying to ask out Jesse. and then Screech rolls in like on a wheelchair with like a cast, a leg cast. He's like, Screech, he gets you too? I don't know. He may not have been in a wheelchair, but yeah, he definitely had the purple bags under his eyes. He goes, no, but I was just trying to get ahead of it in case Slater did try to beat me up. So funny.
Oh my goodness.
And can we just listen? This is a silly moment. I promise I'm almost done. But can we just talk about how teachers would just, shout out everybody's grades in front of the whole class?
Or when Kelly does poorly in science, the teacher he's like, you did an A, you got a B, and then he gets to Kelly and he's like, I'm sorry.
Like, let's just let the entire classroom know how everybody did.
Right.
Very good presentation. Well thought out. You both get an A.
Right.
That was so silly.
I had to grade presentations for a very long time. It takes much more time than that.
So
you get an A.
Yeah, so I'm watching those episodes just shaking my head.
That reminds me, as far as teacher moments, one of my favorites is when I think it's Testaverde, and they're all trying to study, and they get in the room together and they see his image in their books, and he goes, F, 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 you're both getting an F.
That's actually not Mr. Testaverde.
What?
Yeah, so Mr. Testaverde was when Zach was trying to get out of the test, and they were in the bathroom acting like a plumber's thing.
But the fast talker.
Yeah, but the other guy, I don't remember what was his character name? Daggone it.
Oh, we stumped each other.
I know, I can't remember the character name, but they basically say like nobody has passed this dude's test and like whatever. Like he didn't even pass his own son or something like that. But he does.
You're both getting an F. I love that.
Yeah. You think you're smart? You think you're hit? Put your books away because there's no class trip. What was that teacher's name?
Oh my God.
You remember that part?
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know.
What was his name?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, we'll think of it. It'll come to us later.
We'll have to come to us. Okay. I have 3 more.
Okay.
In the Eric episodes.
Yes.
Okay, Jesse's stepbrother. His last name as the character was Eric Tramer.
Okay.
The second Tramer.
Yes.
Eric in the Eric episodes. So for everybody listening, Eric was Jesse's evil stepbrother that moved in from New York. Had the mafia-like New York accent.
Right.
He comes in.
According to what I've read, he seemed to be the kind of character they were looking for in an AC Slater. They wanted AC Slater to be like a Vinnie Barbarino.
Yeah, I can see that. Yep. So in the Eric episodes, the Jewish teacher mentions that it's Rosh Hashanah and literally asks anyone who is Jewish to raise their hand so he can mark them as absent for the holiday. So this Jewish teacher walks throughout the classroom and goes, are any of you Jewish? Raise your hand if you are.
Let's talk about our religion.
Totally inappropriate.
And so Zach skipped school. Those were a couple of good episodes. I liked him.
Yeah, so Zach goes to the Dodger game. Eric sees it on the TV because of Screech.
Eric's a bad guy.
He blackmails him. Anyway, during the Glee Club episode, gosh, Mr. Tuttle keeps coming up.
Mr. Tuttle.
Zach mentions to Mr. Tuttle that none of them know how to sing.
Why are they in Glee Club?
Because of the Hawaii trip.
Oh, that's right. They just want to
If
go
they
to
win,
Hawaii.
if they win the all-state sing or whatever. So he says that none of them know how to sing, yet his band played at their costume ball, and they all seem to have recording studio singing voices somehow.
Somehow.
They can all play instruments. And they can all sing.
But
Some of the inconsistencies you see on the show.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
They can, but they can't. It makes me wonder, and I wondered this as I was rewatching, who are these people? Like, who lands in the career of singing where it's like, yeah, we got a TV show and we want people to perform, but we don't want to pay anything.
Right,
Like,
right.
Who's that group of talents?
Right, exactly.
Wait. Air quote, talents.
Yeah. And in an unbelievable display.
Friends forever. I'm sorry. The music, the voices.
Talking about friends. Hey,
Bad. Like, who are these singers?
and let's talk about Mr. Tuttle's unbelievable display of integrity when Zach gets the jam box or the boom box with the fake Glee Club voices. He's like, okay, what happened? He's like, because it wasn't our voice. Mr. Tuttle's like, I love it.
He recorded Valley's Glee Club, and they just lip synced to it. And the teacher was like, amazing.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
An unbelievable display of integrity.
We are sure to win.
Right. What a good lesson for the students, Mr. Tuttle.
Yes.
And the last thing I had that was a silly moment, the timeouts.
The timeouts, I love the timeouts.
Timeout.
Those are fantastic. That's one of the best things about Zach Morris, being able to stop time.
You know, I don't know the factual information around the timeouts, but I wonder how they came up with that, and I wonder when they came up with that, because I don't remember him doing it a lot in the earlier episodes so much.
And it was one of a kind. Because I can't think of any other shows where people did that.
But I tell you what, as a kid, when he did that and everybody froze, I was like, that is amazing.
That is awesome. That's a lot of power.
That's amazing camera work and cinematography. No, I'm making up things now.
I was very turned on by the power of it all.
Right. Like the one where like Screech is like rearing back to punch Zach and he calls timeout and he's about ready to clock belting as soon as he says, because he has to say time in. If you say timeout, you have to say time in.
Right.
And then he puts a piece of paper in between Kelly and that Vincent guy's face.
Yes.
Which was the Video Yobrick episode.
Good times.
Maybe that's all I had for silly what the heck moments.
Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to share a few just unpopular opinions, and then I'm going to quiz you.
Mary Beth, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
And we're back. You know, we mentioned at the beginning how beloved the show is for us. And so it's hard to hear anyone criticize it for any reason.
Don't you dare.
Only true fans can criticize.
Don't you dare.
But I do have some, I think, unpopular opinions. Just some quick takes. First of all, I think
Am I still going to like you after this?
you will.
Are we still going to be friends forever?
Forever.
I'll give you my buddy band after this.
I was gonna tell you.
Just so you know it's real.
I was gonna say I've got my buddy band. It's never gonna
Buddy bands. Hey, they work.
they work.
Sorry, I had to.
Okay, so I think Lisa as a character was robbed. She had no love life of any kind to speak of. Just followed around by Screech all the time. She had a couple of episodes where she was attracted to someone, but he ended up being a freshman and she was a senior.
Darren.
Darren, yes. She was, who, by the way, was wearing the same sweater. Darren wore the same crazy colorful sweater that Zach wore in the house party episode with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Where Jeff was there and he...
No, this was the, where they broke the Elvis statue.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no. Oh, ooh.
Ooh, I think you're wrong.
You are right.
I think that's when he meets Jeff for the first time.
It's at Lisa's Sweet 16 party.
Thank you very little.
Okay. You got me there, but I feel like
But okay, try to quiz me. It's cool. Go ahead.
I'm never going to stump you, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think, so she didn't really have any kind of love life. There was that one episode with Zach, but I'm sorry. I think the fashion episode was cringe. I didn't like them as a couple on screen. I thought it was very cringy. Which is weird because they actually dated for like 3 years in real life.
Which I would have never thought that.
Right.
I don't know. I just never...
They just didn't have a lot of like romantic chemistry together on screen.
and
I
even-
didn't think.
yeah.
However, I do think Lisa was the best of the girl.
Yeah, I liked her
Actors.
character a lot.
Well-
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think she was the best actress.
But I agree with you on the part about her kind of getting the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Because even like you said, the Darren episode, but even when Eric, the stepbrother,
Right.
is like drawn to Lisa, like he can't get enough of her. He wants to take her out. He wants to do this. And I feel like she finally found somebody that's super into her. She's into him. And then you never hear from Eric again.
Never hear from Eric again.
So
And
poor Lisa.
that was my next unpopular opinion. I kind of liked Eric. I thought he added a little dynamic to the show that worked.
Right.
I thought it worked.
And because there were 6 characters, she always got the pair of a screech.
I know.
Poor thing.
So I think that Eric should have been around longer. I think Lisa should have had more opportunities. The Jesse-Zach lifelong friendship was kind of flat for me.
Oh, yeah?
And I didn't really notice it much until I did the rewatch. And
Tell me more. Tell me more.
They tried to push that, it seemed, in the early 2 seasons, first 2 seasons. They tried to push that, like, we've been climbing into each other's bedrooms windows since we were little, and we watched E.T. on the roof and blah, blah, blah. I felt like that, I don't know, I felt like they were trying to force something, and that would have made sense if those two, I think, were meant to be together by the end of the series. That would have made more sense. However, the creator of Dawson's Creek must have been watching because he saw the potential in that sort of storyline, and that's how we got a new
similar.
series for a younger generation.
No, that's a great call.
Nothing against Zach and Kelly, and this might anger some people, but Stacey Carosi was the one.
Ooh, you're going to ruffle some feathers with that one.
I'm
Mary
sorry.
Beth.
Now, I love Zach and Kelly, especially I'm a fan of the reboot, so I don't want to take anything away from the fate of those characters. However, I'm sorry, Leah Remini was the best co-star ever. The best, what did you call it? Like a 5-episode arc in one of the later seasons when they worked at the beach. And I just thought that she and Zach had awesome chemistry, a lot of good back and forth. I loved their energy. I loved their timing together. This is what's weird. I always rooted for Zach and Kelly. I thought it was cool when he and Jesse kissed. Nothing was cringe about Stacey Carosi and Zach Morris.
Well, and 2, she didn't take his crap. And
Right.
she didn't fall for his gimmicks where most girls were like,
Right.
how did Zach?
She was
She was
smart.
like, huh, that's so profound. And then she would like roll her eye. She did the best eye roll.
Oh my gosh. She was
really good.
She was a really great foil to his character, and she was really smart and really capable, but also adorable. And I just thought they had awesome chemistry, and I didn't think that any of their romantic moments were cringe. I thought they seemed really grown up, and I don't know. Rewatching it, I didn't feel that, oh God, this is so stupid. But I liked them together, and I think that Stacey Carosi was the one that got away.
You know what? You are next level at building a case.
Thank you.
Because I know you've done that before on an episode.
I have.
And I agree with you.
Cool.
And she was a good challenge for Zach.
She was. He needed it. And I think he grew up a lot that summer. Remember? He even saved up for his car.
Exactly.
Okay. And so finally, we're not really talking about the college years, but I got to say, Professor Lasky was the worst character of the entire series. Start to finish. You can't change my mind. I don't like him. I never will. Oh, but wait, there was also Leslie, and she kind of sucked.
Yeah, I did not like her character.
Leslie was more forgettable. Lasky was annoying. Did not like him. And when I saw him, he's nice looking. He was a fine actor. There was nothing wrong with his skills. There was nothing wrong with the way he looked. I just felt like it was way too much of the, I'm just like you. Let me run around the classroom. Let me hop on my desk and have a seat. Let me just be super cool. It just seemed so overdone.
Right. I can agree with that.
And Leslie was just super forgettable. So those are some of my unpopular opinions. Do you still love me?
I do.
Are we still going to be friends forever?
Yeah, we have a buddy band.
We have a buddy band. It's set in stone.
Because, hey, they work.
Okay. Well, from here, I want to say a couple things about the reboot. Have you watched?
I've watched a little bit, and I'll be honest.
It's okay. We need you to be honest.
I wanted to see it just to see it because of the whole, huge fan of the original, but I just couldn't. I felt like I was cheating on the original by watching the reboot. Yeah, I didn't want to get into it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't allow myself to really get excited about it. So I only watched probably the first 2 episodes, and I just couldn't.
Okay.
I couldn't get through it.
I can understand that. There's a loyalty. There's an allegiance.
Yeah.
I was really nervous in the same kind of way about Cobra Kai because Karate Kid is sacred. And if you screw it up, you kind of screw up the entire legacy. Hello, looking at you, Game of Thrones final season.
Painful.
But I was not excited about watching the reboot simply because it was a part of preparation for this. Like, I did the rewatch of the show, loved it, of course. And so there was a part of me that just didn't have the energy to like invest in all these new characters and such. But I have to say, I loved it. It has 2 seasons on Peacock. It is like perfectly nostalgic.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And this is a sincere question because I obviously have not seen it. Well, I haven't seen anything other than the first 2 episodes. Outside of Dust and Diamond, are they all in it?
Okay, so in the first season, we see Lisa on a phone call. And that's near the end of that season. It's kind of close to the end of that season. But we see her more in the second season, which is awesome. They do a tribute to Screech in the beginning of the second season, which is sad because he had just passed away, really.
Yeah.
So these came out in November 2020, and then again in 20.
Yeah, I was going to say it was like right after the pandemic.
It was right after the pandemic. So one of the things I wanted to mention is that, like, the Cobra Kai reboot, it came out at a time where you knew it was going to have, I mean, if it was going to appeal to a new, younger audience, it was going to have some woke elements. I wondered how they were going to handle that.
Had to.
I wondered how they were going to handle it without ruining, the legacy of the story and the characters that we knew. And I love that Johnny was so anti-woke, and the his protege is sort of teaching him, like,
Right.
But it wasn't too much. It wasn't in your face. Now, you're talking about a post-pandemic reboot. Okay, the pandemic sent woke into like radioactive mode. So I'm actually impressed with how well they handled newer stories stories that you would categorize as woke and just sort of tired and preachy and all that bullshit we don't want to hear.
Sure.
I was actually really impressed by how they balanced it, because a lot of times, like, they handle certain things now with our modern sensibilities, things that might even bother you as a Gen Xer, because nothing offends us, and we're like, why is everyone so offended about everything all the time? They do handle things with a good amount of sensitivity, but at the same time, it's also part of the joke.
Yep.
So you have Slater as the gym teacher and football coach, and you have Zach is governor of California, and he's still married to Kelly, and his son Mac Morris is the schemer of the school, and Jessie Spano is the counselor, and one of her child Jamie is on the football team. And so it's a new cast of characters, and then we see the adults come in, and for them to kind of exist in this world where everything's so different, things that used to be okay are not okay now, and all the standards have changed, the goalposts have changed, and so they make fun of that, but also there's a reverence. They treat the original Saved by the Bell with a lot of love and care. So they make fun of themselves, but it's a lot of fun for the fans like us. And I have to say credit to the younger kids, the cast, the students, because now it's what is her name? The one who gets to do the timeouts now. She's kind of the Jessie Spano, and she's the foil to Mac and all his scheming and stuff. But she's actually the Zach who gets to like time out everything.
Oh, okay.
And they look at the camera. If you're a fan at all of the early Glee, that's how this show is packaged. Without the musical numbers, it's very, very, very fast paced, very quick. The humor is very grown up. I mean, to get to see Mark Paul, in a scene with Mario Lopez, and Mark Paul gets to call him, don't be a scared little pussy,
He does say that?
Don't be a little bitch. Yeah.
He does say that in the show.
Yes. And there's one part where Jessie Spano is like breaking up with her husband because they have this crazy marriage, and she finally has had enough. And he's like, who are you? Or something like that. She goes, I'm Jessie fucking Spano.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's fun.
Okay, so grown up version.
Well, yeah, but they do bleep out the F word. But it's hilarious. The kids are hilarious actor. I mean, they're so talented. And in fact, one of the characters is a transgender I guess we're supposed to call her she, is used to be a male actor on the Disney Channel. And now he's a she, and she is one of the main cast members. And she is actually the funniest, no joke. She is very, very funny. Like, I've laughed out loud so much from her. But the humor itself is so witty and quick and fun. And there's so much love in the tributes and the nods back. And I just watched one this morning because I'm almost finished. And it's a shame that it got canceled. I'm kind of upset about it. But they make fun of showgirls in the episode that I just watched. It's just funny the way they're able to make fun of each other.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to give it a second chance.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it did get canceled after 2 seasons, or it didn't get picked back up. And I had to look into that because I'm like, this show is so fresh. It's so fresh and so fun. I can't believe that it didn't last. So,
I'll try.
Susan Rovner is her name. I had to look this bitch up. She was the chair of entertainment content for NBC Universal, and she was part of the decision to not continue the show. But we have her to thank for crap like Below Deck and Vanderpump, Who Gives a Crap. And so, but shows like the Saved by the Bell reboot, just no. They were taking a turn from the comedy. I'm like, so you hate fun. We know that about you. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, she got the boot last summer, so she's not in charge anymore.
Good.
But it makes me think what might have been, because if you get a chance to watch the reboot, it is a lot of fun, especially for the nostalgic Saved by the Bell OG crew like you and me.
Okay. I felt like it was going to try too hard, but now you've convinced me to give it a shot.
No, it's
on Peacock, you said?
It's on Peacock. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Done.
Okay. Are you ready to be quizzed, Preppy?
Come on. Hey, dazzle us, Preppy.
I think you should go first.
Okay.
I think it's going to be easier for you to stump. I went into this so cocky, and now I'm afraid.
I didn't look any of these up, by the way. I created these
either.
off the cuff. Okay.
These are off the cuff as well.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll see who did it better. Mm-hmm. Okay, Mary Beth, number 1. What did Lisa Turtle's parents do for work?
They were doctors.
They were doctors, correct. That is correct.
Ding, ding, ding.
Would you like me to keep going, or are we alternating?
Let's alternate.
Okay.
What was Zach and Kelly's breakup song?
A12.
No, that was their sacred song. What was their breakup song? We just serenaded each other
Tell
to
me
this.
all the time. Tell me all the times to make it. Right?
What is it?
Oh, all that I've been living for.
You're almost there.
How am I supposed to live without you?
But it wasn't the Michael Bolton version. It was the let's hire some really bad singers to...
Yeah, it was like a karaoke CD.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like a karaoke CD.
Exactly.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me find that.
Okay.
Okay, this one's going to be hard, but I'm very proud that I knew this one without looking at it.
Okay.
What was Slater's dad's first name? That's tough.
It was Marvin.
You were so close.
Marshall?
You were so close. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. General Martin Slater. I'm so proud of you. You were so close. I thought you were going to be like, dude, I have no clue.
Well, if you paid attention to the college years, you would know that AC
I already know where you're going.
AC Slater's father changed their last name.
From Sanchez.
Very good. Joe.
Gosh, man. Hey, try me. I'm so
Sizzle.
proud of you. I really thought you were going to have no clue.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. God, you're so good. Is it my... Oh, so it's your turn.
What was Zach Morris's SAT score?
1,500. I said that earlier.
I don't know if you are correct. I believe it was
He says it in the episode that I'm talking about.
1502.
Well, he says 1,500 in the episode.
Right, but the episode before that when he actually got the scores, when they were all opening
Okay,
letters.
I gave you Marvin.
Okay.
And I gave you Martian. Can you just give me the 2 points?
Okay,
Just
2
give me the 2 points.
Okay.
How many siblings does Kelly have?
7? No, she would have 6 because she always talked about being a family of
Okay,
7.
part 2 of the question. How many were added like by name or in the episode? Either by name or in an episode.
Okay, so her little sister.
You're gonna get this.
Her little sister was in one.
Okay, Nikki.
Nikki, because she liked Zach.
Teen Line. Teen Line is Nitro.
I'm in love with your sister. Her little brother that we don't see tries to dump some water on Zach on the front porch after their date.
That's the school nurse episode. That's Kyle.
Okay. Then her infant son during school picture day. What'd he say, snack?
Hey, wait. What do you say, snack? Mario Lopez, get with us. DM.
Retweet our episode,
We
Mario.
love you,
We
Mario.
love you. Hey, I know what you mean, Jesse. That's one of our
Zach.
favorite lines.
Hey, I know what you mean, Jesse.
Okay. Great. So we have the infant that they have to babysit all day. I know she mentions one can burp the entire alphabet with one Dr. Pepper.
That's it.
4?
And his Kenny
Kenny.
Leonard Kapowski.
Okay.
I'm still thinking about the funny Slater line that I told you made me LOL. Yeah, and so I asked Leslie Blonder, and she wept with joy. Okay, this is an easy one. Oh, actually, that was my question, so it's your turn. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I keep getting ahead.
Some of these are so easy, I'm ashamed of myself. Who won the Miss Bayside pageant?
Samuel Screech Powers.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep. I've learned that all geeks can have their day.
I would like to. Oh, when he drops this.
Hey, Mary Beth, now that's inner beauty. What was Mr. Belding's wife's name? Easy.
Peggy.
Becky.
Becky. Oh my God. That just came out.
Oh my God, Martian.
That just came out of my mouth. I didn't even give myself
You knew
time.
what you meant.
I knew it was
what
Becky.
You knew what you meant.
Oh, this is
Because
embarrassing.
that's who Belding and Brandon Tartikoff fought over.
They fought over her, and her dad was superintendent.
Becky
And
Flugelman.
Flugelman. And when you date someone whose dad is a superintendent, you automatically become principal.
You don't even have to have an administrator's
That's
license.
the way it works.
Okay, your turn.
Name the beach club where they all worked one summer.
Malibu Sands.
Malibu Sands Beach Resort. Fun fact, Malibu Sands Beach Resort was also used in 90210's Beach Club. Thank you, everyone.
And which character was in 90210?
That would have been...
Actually, two of them, technically.
Wait, which character?
Or characters.
No, you mean like people.
Oh, yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry.
All right, so Tiffany Thiessen went on to play in 90210.
True.
We know that Violet Bickerstaff,
There you go.
Tori Spelling, sorry, not a diversity hire, a nepotism baby. Because I'm sorry, she never would have been on 90210 otherwise.
True. Facts, as they say. Okay. By the way, on Malibu Sands, how did they get that job? Do you remember? I'm stealing a quiz question.
Okay, I believe they got that job through Lisa and her parents because they are club members.
Correctamundo.
And this is the perfect time for our neighbor to start mowing the grass.
Yes. I hope you enjoy your grass mowing while we're doing a podcast.
Don't they care?
Okay.
Don't they care that we're doing it? Oh my God, they're doing it right up here against the house.
Did we ask them to cut the backyard? Who asked you?
Like there's someone mowing the lawn and like no one's here.
Okay. All right.
No, we did that on purpose. It's background ambiance.
Yeah, that's right. It's like a setting. It's like an audio setting. All right, you ready?
Yes.
What was the stewardess's name that Rod Belding, Richard's brother, wanted to spend the weekend with instead of taking the kids on a whitewater
hate
rafting
you.
trip? And can we talk about why a substitute teacher gets to
Gets to
take
take
them
them
on a
on a
week-long rafting trip?
One of the most dangerous kind of field trips you can take children
Which
on.
I've done once in my life and almost died.
I have whitewater rafted myself. It is so dangerous.
Almost died.
It was very scary.
Okay.
What was her name? I don't remember that. And I just saw this episode.
Just tell me when you're ready.
I'm not.
No, I mean for me to say it.
Oh, say it.
Yeah, her name's Inga, and she's only in town for the weekend. You're doing this for some stewardess?
Oh, I hate you, man. I could never. Okay. This one's too easy. What is A.C. Slater's full name, please?
Albert Clifford Slater.
Yes.
Ready?
Yes.
Who, speaking of, did Violet Bickerstaff leave for Screech?
He had a weird name.
He had a very Saved by the Bell name.
He was teeny tiny rich guy, and his name at the moment completely escapes me.
Gave all of his women a golden pocket protector. And I hope this mower outside hits a couple more leaves or a couple more twigs and branches.
I'm completely distracted by the lawnmower.
No. Let's not let he or she ruin this.
What was his name? Oh my God.
Let me know if you need to phone a friend. Do you need a lifeline?
I think Damn, what was his name?
Max Nerdstrom. And he did the...
Yeah. Violet Bickerstaff.
Yeah. He was actually in a couple of different episodes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Name the theater in Germany where Slater and Jen used to frequent.
The Berlinaplex.
The Berlinaplex.
Yeah.
We always used to sit in the back at the Berlinaplex.
Classic. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Who was the childhood star that guest starred in the Screech's spaghetti sauce episode?
You know what? I have a related question in the same episode. That would be Punky Brewster, Soleil Moon Frye. What was the slogan for Screech's spaghetti sauce?
Oh my good grief.
The lawnmower is serving as a clock timer for you to answer the question.
Tick tock,
tick tock.
Oh gosh, Screech and Mia.
Did I just stump Joe? Did I
Screech's secret spaghetti sauce. I'm trying to think of the stupid commercial they had to make where they were all in the kitchen acting like an Italian family. You got me. You got me.
The salsa you can have,
but the rest
secret,
she's a mine.
She's a mine. The salsa you can have, but the secret, she's a mine.
And by the way, in that episode when they're in the assembly line and Screech is just letting those bottles fall,
yes.
and Lisa's trying to put the label on, you could tell in real life she's laughing. Like she starts laughing.
That is one of the most popular sitcom conventions, the conveyor belt that gets out of control.
And again, it goes back to unrealistic expectations about building wealth.
Right.
He made like $1,000 total, and people are ready to like...
out of stolen chemical lab equipment.
Right, exactly.
Where are the teachers?
Yeah. And so her Soleil Moon Frye's character in that episode is just ready to go live in a Malibu beach house and drive an Aston Martin with Screech because he made $800
off a recipe that is public domain.
Awesome. This is hilarious. What did Zach's dad do for a living?
Zach's dad sold computers.
He freaking leased computers. Like, what a obsolete job.
But he was on the phone all the time.
Right.
Couldn't get through
I
to
mean,
him.
him and Zach cannot go camping together because his dad had to get on the phone to sell some damn computers. Derek Morris.
I have one more.
Okay. I do too.
Just how excited was Jesse Spano?
I'm so excited. Okay.
She was so excited.
She was
In fact,
she was so excited.
She was so scared.
Yeah. Well, my last one's kind of like a anticlimactic because we've already talked about this several times. What was Jesse's stepbrother's name?
Eric
Tramer. Ding, ding, ding.
So good.
That was so fun. I want to keep doing it over and over.
I loved the show. I still love the show. The reboot made me love it all the more. I really enjoyed talking about it and walking down memory lane with you.
Zach Morris, you were the reason I had that god-awful hair in the early 90s, where I had the shaved at the bottom and the long at the top and the frosted. Thank you, I think.
It was a great show. Learned a lot.
We definitely learned how lame we are.
We learned how lame we are in today's episode.
But I really enjoyed getting to go back and watch those episodes for this. It took me back quite a bit, so.
Yes.
Made me feel good, Mary Beth. Made me feel good.
Me too. And you know what? When Mom and Dad listen to this, I hope Dad enjoys listening to us talk about it. At least he doesn't have to see it on TV.
Yeah, and I want to give a special shout out to the gentleman outside mowing his grass during our episode.
You.
I hope he enjoyed it as well.
Thank you to the lawnmower outside.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done it without you.
Good night.
All right. Until next time. Oh, I guess we should announce that we are on Twitter.
Okay, let's do it.
Our handle is @theGenXSiblings. So we are on Twitter now. So look us up, give us a follow. Like and subscribe to our podcast. Our website is thebestofgenx.buzzsprout.com.
If you're not on it, ask yourself, why not?
What is wrong with you? All right, buddy. I'm going to take my buddy bands.
Hey, they work.
Peace out.
Hey, outstanding presentation. You get an A.
Hey, you know what? That's it.
I'm
out
outta
of here.
Time out.